Is your Pilates equipment taking up all the space, or maybe you just feel like it's a big mess and a big pile? In this video today, I actually want to talk to you about how you can make easy, simple storage solutions so that no matter the size of your space, you have access to all the equipment that you want to use when you want to use it. Let's get started.
Welcome to OnlinePilatesClasses.com, the most supportive Pilates-loving community across the globe. Enjoy new weekly classes from our amazing teachers. Download the OnlinePilatesClasses.com app today.
Hi, I'm Lesley Logan, co-founder of OnlinePilatesClasses.com, and I have been teaching Pilates since 2008, but I've been doing Pilates since 2005, so I've been in a lot of studios. In fact, even as a teacher, I even became a studio manager. So I've been in studios as small as 400 square feet and as large as thousands of square feet. And what I have noticed, whether it's a home studio or a studio clients come to, it is easy to have a lot of things, a lot of tools, a lot of props in places that seem like it's a good place to put it, but not easy accessible for workouts. And it can feel really frustrating. And if you're a client, can kind of feel like, is it clean? Is this place organized? And so I'm coming to you from our home studio. And we have some really fun ways that we store our equipment, which I'll happily show you. So you have efficiency of getting to access all of your props and your pieces of equipment, but also so it looks good. And then these storage solutions will work even in a brick and mortar space so that not only does your studio look beautiful, clean, and vibrant, but it's also easy for clients to use and have access to equipment. Because what you don't want to do is put things away so it looks clean, but then you never pull them out. Like that is the thing that was really frustrating for me. The spine corrector would be stored under a Cadillac because it was out of the way, but then it was so hard to get out that it just collected dust, and then no one is getting the amazing use of the spine corrector. So you always want to make sure that it's easy to use and accessible, but also it looks really good. So we're going to talk all about those smart storage solutions in this video. By the way, if you actually want to have your own home studio, we created a wonderful free guide that actually talks about all the different things you could fit into your space, no matter how big or small it is. And you can get it at opc.me/home studio. All right, so we can first start with some vertical storage solutions, or just solutions to get things on walls. So you can easily get some standalone shelving. This is something that you'll probably even see at gyms. Like at my gym, it's where the balls are, the weight balls, the ab mats are, all of this stuff just stacks on there. I find those to be really useful if you have a lot more space and you don't want to actually attach anything to the wall. And you can also get some floating shelves. This is really nice because you can actually put things on shelves off the floor, so it's away from where people's feet, bags, shoes would be going, any pillows, other equipment pushed against the wall. Another reason why floating shelves are really great is because they'll be easier to clean your floors. You're not going to have things where dust can get behind boxes or props or baskets of props on the floor. So having those floating shelves work really great. Corner shelving, this is something I had at my old studio, which was quite small. I had these corner shelves that were really great to get the fans off the floor and onto people, and also it just kind of made the space look bigger, because sometimes when you have things coming off the walls, it can feel like the walls are closing on you. So the corner shelves is really nice. And then I've been to some amazing studios where they have inlaid shelving. And this is obviously something that has to be designed when you're doing the wall, but it is very beautiful if you can do it. And it also, again, makes the walls nice and clean. The props are actually going into the wall, and so you feel like you have a lot more open space and have a nice clean look. Now we can also talk about wall mounts and hooks. So this is something I use a lot for hanging spine correctors, spacer boxes, small barrels. I have people who also have hooks for their short boxes from the reformer. They even like tie up their C-shaper and other things that they can hang their mats on the wall. So it's really quite nicely to, again, get things off the floor, especially those bigger boxes. You can get some shelves and hooks that have certain weight requirements, and so make sure with the spine correctors they can be really heavy. Also, you can get hooks to hang your springs from. So I have a lot of extra springs for my Cadillac. I don't like to have them all on the Cadillac, so they're actually hanging on some hooks and they look really decorative. The other thing is some companies even sell these like racks. It's almost like from a crate, but it's just a flat rack, so it makes it really easy to hang springs and clips and handles. Other ways to get things off is you can get some pipes or posts or poles that come off the walls, and you can hang your fitness balls off of that, because those always just take up space and they just end up rolling around, and it's really annoying. So that gets them off the floor. You can also, some mats are actually sold with holes in them, so you can hang them on those same hooks, or because some mats have a tie at the end, you can hang them off of that. I know that's really nice to do. Again, just anything you can get to get things off of the floor. It's going to make sure you have plenty of space to move around the floor, and it's not going to feel like you have a messy space. And if you're wondering, what am I doing with all these props anyways, check out our video about which props should I be using on the mat. It's really helpful to understand like when you should be using props and what props you should be using, and it might help you use yours more often so that you want to have easy access to them. All right, let's talk about some multi-purpose storage units. This is going to be really fun. This is where you can get really creative and really tailor it to your space as well. So the first one would be a storage bench. This could be great for where you sit down and put your shoes. Everyone's shoes could just go in there, and that way they're not all over the place in the mess, right? They're just like in this nice bench. You can also store some of your props inside of that. 𝐶𝐁𝐒, it's the Cadillac I'm on, they actually put this inside a Cadillac. In fact, the engineer went to so many studios and he's like, how come everyone just puts a bunch of baskets of junk underneath the Cadillac? What if we actually make a toy chest? So you can see that I use my toy chest. I put a ton of stuff in this, and it really allows me to have all of the things I want to have access to in the same place I'm working out, but not in a bin outside where people can see them. You can also use some storage bins. That might be the best thing for you, especially if you have some shelf units for it. Clear ones are going to allow you to easily see what's inside. If you don't have clear ones, you can label them. If you have a studio with several reformers, what you might want to consider is finding a nice, cute basket that fits the vibe of your space, that will fit under the carriage as it opens and closes. But each bin or basket can have the weights they're going to need, or the ball they're going to need, or a TheraBand that they're going to need, or a booty band, or a towel. Whatever you want can go in there, and that way every station has what they need in the station. That works really nicely. Another thing you can do is bring a rolling rack in, right? So maybe you actually have a cute closet that things can fit in, but you don't really want people going into it. You can actually use a rolling rack to store weights and balls and other things you might use. Roll it in for the class that you need it for, roll it out when it's not there. So really a lot of options in this particular way of storing things that you can fit your needs. I mean, if you've ever been to the Container Store, they have a box for any size and any height you'd ever want. And no, they're not sponsoring this video. And you know what's cool about props? They make really amazing gifts. And if you're wondering what is the perfect gift to get to a Pilates lover, check out this video we have here, the perfect gifts for a Pilates lover. We have all these different ideas that could be useful for you for buying yourself a gift and filling up more of those bins you have, or buying one for a Pilates lover you know. All right, so far I've been talking about a lot of little things and all the prop stuff, the stuff that kind of makes a mess. But I want to talk about the bigger things, like how would I store a Cadillac, right? Well, let's actually talk about some of the things. So first of all, wall units, tower units are really great because that high mat can just lift up off the floor and store against its tower. In fact, one of my clients has hers in her entryway. And so when she's done working out, she just lifts the mat up, connects it to the tower, and it's out of her way. It's not going to fall down, and she can use her entryway for what it is, which is an entryway. You can also take one of chairs, oftentimes, not all brands, but several brands like the 𝐶𝐁𝐒 and other classical ones, you can flip over and use as a chair. So if it's in your living room doing Pilates while you're watching TV, you can just flip it over and make it a chair, and then you can sit in it, and it can be a piece of furniture, which is really great. I use a reformer as a dog bed in my office because I have a few of those in this house, and so we're not using them all the time, and we put a beautiful dog bed on it and some other things so it looks like it's a piece of furniture in the house. The dogs love it. But also I have friends who've had an extra reformer in their living room, and they just have sliders on it so they can slide it up against the wall when they're not using it, put some pillows on it, and voila, it's another place to sit, almost like a chaise lounge or something. My friend Dina has a Cadillac in her living room, and she actually has a beautiful scarf, like see-through scarf shawl that she puts over it and drapes over it. Looks like a thin canopy bed, and it fits the vibe of her decor. So she kind of like puts it away, and then she puts a couple little pillows on it, and it's something that people can comfortably sit on when she has people over at the house. So there's lots of ways you can make equipment look like it's part of your house, or use it as other things so that you can have this stuff at home, right? You can use it. If you're in a studio and you're wanting to make room for things, again, those high mats can lean up against a wall very easily, so you can use them for the tower units, but they can get out of the way when you want to have a mat class and have more people in it. A lot of reformers today, they're making to actually be lifted up and stack vertically against a wall. They have wheels on one side, which makes them really easy to move, and the lift up and store. Not all reformers do this, so if that is something that's really important to you, make sure that you keep that in mind when you are purchasing your equipment. You know, it does change the type of equipment that you can get, but it is something that can be done. So all of these are just different ways you can move things around. One thing we haven't mentioned that I think isn't part of storage, but part of like ease of use is if you have hardwood floors, getting furniture sliders, it's like a wool that has like a felt that has a sticky thing on one side. I put them on the bottom of everything, and it doesn't really work in a tiled house, but it works really well on a hardwood floor, and it makes it easy to slide equipment around so that you can actually have a smaller space but more things in it. You can just push things against the wall. It makes me think of like Kathy Stafford Grant, one of Dose of Pilates students and also one of the few people certified by him. She actually took over a Pilates studio in Harvey Bendel's, and Harvey Bendel's or just Bendel's? Anyways, Bendel's in New York, way back in the day. And she was just constantly moving things around. Like, you know, it's a luxury today for studios to have every single piece of equipment has its home all of the time. In fact, it kind of makes things a little bit expensive and inaccessible. You know, I really think that it's possible to have everything you need in a small space. You just have to have a way of shifting it around, pushing against the wall. She would do that all the time. It's kind of like its own little Tetris, real life Pilates Tetris, but it makes it easier to use your equipment in a small space. Pro tip, if you're going to do the sliders, make sure you get the felt ones and not the plastic ones, because the plastic ones might make it easy for the equipment to move while you're using it. The nice thing about the felt is it doesn't scratch the floors. It does make heavy equipment easy to move, but not so easy to move. It moves on its own. And if you're still wondering what piece of equipment will fit in your home, check out our video on types of equipment for the home. Most importantly, whatever you like to use that makes your space organized and easy to use is going to be the best thing you can do. Because here's the thing. Many people feel like they can't take time for their Pilates practice because they need to clean up first. And so it's really important to me that it's so easy for you to come into your space, do your Pilates workout, and then get on with your day. So I would love to hear what your favorite tips are, either ones that I shared or ones that you're using that I didn't mention. Put them in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. It has been a dream to talk about this. I answer this question all the time, and it's really fun for me to show you just our little nooks and crannies of how we do this and how we've made it work. And again, all these tips can be used in a variety of different size spaces. So whether you're a brick and mortar or home studio or want to have either of those things, keep in mind that whatever works for you is the best thing that's going to be worked because you'll use it. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, I answer those on Sundays at 9 a.m. Pacific time. I'd love for you to join us live if you can. And if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, please do. If you love talking Pilates and you would like more time talking about Pilates, check out onlinepilatesclasses.com/YouTube. Have an amazing day.